There's a reason why the only memorable element of her tenure at Lucasfilm is going to be this clip from South Park.
Put a chick in it, make her gay!
Meanwhile, in the best news that I've heard all week, Kathleen Kennedy is apparently going to step down at Lucasfilm after a 13-year run of absolute horror in which the only success was Rogue One, apparently. Like The Mandalorian, maybe, but that really wasn't her, that was Filoni. I'm not sure anyone has ever ruined classic IP more than Kathleen Kennedy ruined the Star Wars IP. It's truly incredible, and it's all because she decided to infuse her trash left-wing values into the Star Wars universe. She decided that the Force was created by lesbian space witches. She decided that Luke Skywalker was actually a loser who hated the Force and drank like green cow milk. The disaster area that is her tenure at Lucasfilm is unparalleled in modern film history. Because you're talking about literally the greatest IP in the history of American film, completely wrecked for 13 years. When we say that wokeness poisons all it touches, I mean, you know how hard you have to work to destroy the Star Wars IP? You have to work so hard. I mean, truly. Because let's be frank, George Lucas tried to do it with the first 3 episodes. When I grew up, I was watching episodes 4, 5, and 6, right? That's the originals. Right? That's Star Wars, that's Empire Strikes Back, that's Return of the Jedi. And then in the 90s, Lucas decided that it was time to tell the story, the backstory of Darth Vader. And so you got the 3 prequels, 2 of which are trash, and the 3rd of which, Revenge of the Sith, the last half of which is pretty good. Okay, but they tried to ruin it, and they didn't ruin it. Instead, it sort of just became part of the canon, and everybody enjoys it, even though there are real problems with the first 3 films. And then along came Kathleen Kennedy. And she decided that it was imperative to do a complete retread in which they killed off all your favorite characters and or added a bunch of new characters you don't care about for the sake of woke nonsense. She will never be forgiven for The Last Jedi. No one can forgive that. That is unforgivable. No level of repentance will ever lead to absolution on The Last Jedi. No level of repentance will lead to absolution for Kathleen Kennedy, for the acolyte. There's just nothing, there's nothing to be done. I'm sorry. The destruction of Boba Fett. I mean, like, I want to look up the actual series that she created here because they're just so terrible. And we deserve to actually spend a little bit of time on just how awful they were. Like true trash. The Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which makes no sense. None. Why is Obi-Wan Kenobi in touch with Darth Vader in the time between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope? Why? It makes... And Leia too, yeah. Obi-Wan is in touch with Leia. Like, none of it makes any sense. It completely destroys all of it. Even shows that I kind of liked the beginning of, like Ahsoka, ended up kind of being destroyed as long as they stuck around the Kathleen Kennedy universe long enough. Just terrible, just terrible. So, good riddance to bad rubbish in Kathleen Kennedy in the Star Wars universe. Again, what's amazing about Kathleen Kennedy is really, truly, how if you look at her IMDb prior to her modern run, it's pretty amazing. Like, it's an original, amazing IMDb. Right? She produced the Jurassic Park franchise. But then once she actually had control of the studio, you ended up with like the Indiana Jones films, and you ended up with all this crap on Disney Plus. Ugh, just awful. There's a reason why the only memorable element of her tenure at Lucasfilm is going to be this clip from South Park.
Is there a problem, people?
No problem at all, Mrs. Kennedy.
We were just discussing ideas of what to do with the new Prince Eric movie.
Put a chick in it, make her gay!
Yes, Miss Kennedy, some of the execs are just expressing that maybe...
Well, that maybe we should go a different route than we did with Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones, put a chick in it and make her name it gay!
Sure, yeah. Well, let's try that. Again.
Put a diverse woman in it, make it gay!
But, Mrs. Kennedy, Bambi's a baby deer.
Baby deer, put a chick in it, make her gay!
There you are, Miss Kennedy, the linguine and clam sauce.
Excuse me, I believe I asked you to put a chick in this and make her gay.
Yes, the chef was a little confused what you meant by that.
It means put a chick in the linguine and make her f***ing gay!
We'll get to more on this in a moment. First, starting a business is exciting, but the financial chaos that comes with it, well, that not so much. When I launched Daily Wire, we became very familiar with compiling a sea of receipts, trying to track employee expenses, and spending countless hours reconciling statements. It was a nightmare until we got it all figured out. You know, when you run a business, honestly, streamlining your processes is key, because otherwise you're just spending time and money on things that you really don't need to. And that's why I want to introduce you to Ramp. Ramp is a free corporate card that handles all your tedious financial operations, like manually logging receipts, chasing approvals, spending days on month-end close is low-leverage, busy work. Ramp does all this automatically, so your team can focus on what truly moves the needle. Forecasting, planning, scaling your business. If you're in an industry the way I am, time to execute breaking news coverage right when it happens. Well, here's the reality. Most finance teams spend 80% of their time on mind-numbing busy work, like chasing down expenses, only 20% on the stuff that actually matters, like the strategic planning and growth. Ramp flips that equation completely. Over 25,000 businesses trust Ramp, including Shopify and Boys and Girls Club of America. That's why they were just named #1 in spend management by G2. And now, for a limited time, listeners of this show can get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/Shapiro. That's ramp.com/Shapiro. ramp.com/Shapiro. Cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. Hey, meanwhile, in other news, Vivek Ramaswamy has officially declared that he's going to run for governor of Ohio. President Trump and Elon Musk have already endorsed. Vivek is running on what he has called sort of nationalist libertarian platform, which is a much more free market platform than some of the other competitors who are up for the job. Here is Vivek talking about his run yesterday.
President Trump is reviving our conviction in America. We require a leader here at home who will revive our conviction in Ohio. And that is why today I am honored to announce that I am running to be the next governor of a great state at the heart of the greatest nation known to mankind, the state where I was born and raised, the state where Apurva and I raise our 2 sons today, a state whose best days are still ahead. I am honored to announce my candidacy to serve as the next governor of the state of Ohio.
So Vivek is leading in the polls in Ohio. Again, he has the endorsement of the president as well as Elon Musk. So all of the talk about them all hating each other, obviously that's not true. His main competition for that job was going to be the lieutenant governor, a guy named John Husted, but he was appointed to fill J.D. Vance's seat in the Senate. And that basically clears the road for Ramaswamy's bid. The other big candidate there is the attorney general for the state, a guy named Dave Yost. So again, right now, Ramaswamy has over 50% support among Republican primary voters. He's the most famous person in the field by a long shot. He has big name recognition. Obviously, he grew up outside Cincinnati. He lives outside Columbus as well. We will have Vivek on this week to talk about his gubernatorial race and what his vision is for the state of Ohio, which is, of course, a bellwether state in the United States, moved increasingly to the right over the course of my lifetime, but continuing to move to the right with the possible election of Vivek. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah. Me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.